Okay, 7 and 8 involve factoring. So 7 wants you to factor out the greatest common factor. All right, what you're going to do is start with your coefficients, which are 27, 6, and 15. And you're looking for one number that you can divide into all three of those numbers. And you want it to be the largest, the greatest. And 27, 6, and 15 are all divisible by 3. So I know I can pull a 3 out of them. Okay? And when you divide a 3 into a 27, you'll be left with a 9. When you divide the 3 into the 6, you'll be left with a 2. And a 3 into the 15, and you'll be left with a 5. Then you want to go and look at your variables. You have an x cubed, an x squared, and an x. Now, what they all have in common is an x, and I realized I didn't leave enough room for my x here. Let me erase my 3, pull it out a little further, because there's going to be an x right here. I can get an x out of all of those. Now, when you take an x cubed and divide it by an x, it's an x to the first. So you would subtract your exponents, and that's going to be an x to the 3 minus 1 is 2. And then there's a subtraction sign right here. He'll stay right here. And then on the x squared, when you take x squared and divide it by x to the first, 2 minus 1 is 1. So you're left with the x to the invisible 1. And then there's a plus sign right here. That's going to stay here. And when you take this x and divide it by x, anything divided by itself just cancels out. So with that 5, there'll be no x, it's just a 5. And this is factored correctly. That's it. Okay, now for the next one. This is a difference, because there's a subtraction sign. Let me use a highlighter instead. This is a difference of 2 squares, because the 81 squared was a 9x that got squared, minus, and the 49 is a 7 that got squared. So the 7 and the 9x are what you need, because the rule says if you have an a squared minus a b squared, that will factor to be an a minus b times an a plus b. And in this situation, our a is the 9x that got squared right here. So you're going to need a 9x here and a 9x there. And then the b in this b squared here, that's a 7. So you'll need a 7 here and a 7 there. So my final answer here is a 9x minus 7 times a 9x plus 7. And that is factored correctly. And if you want to write 9x plus 7 first and then 9x minus 7 second, you can do that, because if you FOIL this one and you FOIL that one, it'll take you back to this. Either one works, so it doesn't matter. And that is 7 and 8, which is factoring.